Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. A little update on the Ukraine front. We want to start with the Ukrainians stating that the Russians actually captured 3 villages in Donetsk Oblast and advanced near others. So this is reported by the New Voice of Ukraine, I think after using an deep state report. So the enemy, which is the Russians here, has occupied Zhovtye, Pushtinka, and Rozdolny. Analysts also reported Russian troops advanced near Ilinka, Novodonetsk, Trudove, Pushkino, and Kurakhove in Donetsk Oblast. Deep State recorded the occupation of Novoselivka in the Kurakhove sector and Petrivka on the Pokrovsk front of Donetsk Oblast. I'm going to show you where Kurakhove is, and I'm going to show you the Pokrovsk front. So it says the analyst updated the map reporting the occupation of Katerinivka and Yurivka in the same region. So there is located, my friends. This is Ukraine, and this is Donetsk here. Where my strong hand is located, this is the Pokrovsk front, because here is Pokrovsk, the city of Pokrovsk. The Russians call it Krasnoarmeysk. So the Russians are advancing this big time. Now Kurakhove is where you see this reservoir, Kurakhove. So they are advancing this way, and on the front, the entire front towards Pokrovsk. That's a big situation. That's a big breakthrough. Blitzkrieg, no, but at least they move fast. The same thing happens here, and Velikaya Novoselivka right here is going to be in big trouble. I'm not going to talk about Kharkov, where you can also see this advance, and here towards Kupiansk. All right, let's go to the next article. So obviously these guys are, not even rope doping. They are over there in the corner. Ukrainian forces, we are told by the same media outlet, the New Voice of Ukraine, 3 hours ago, advanced near Vuhledar. Russian troops captured 2 villages near Pokrovsk and Kurakhove. So these guys talk about the same thing here. Kurakhove and Pokrovsk, which is in Donetsk, where I showed you this. All right, this is like a nose, this is the open mouth, this is the brow. Right here, this is the hair, this is the chin, right here, you got it, like that. Right, so they talk about this front right here, but they talk about Vuhledar. And Vuhledar, the Russians call it Ugledar. And Ugledar is here by the border with right here, this is Ugledar, the city. They say Vuhledar, the Ukrainians, Ugledar, the Ukrainians. So probably they refer to something around this area, but you see where Ugledar is, how far it is, Vuhledar by the, compared with the front. It's kind of far. But nevertheless, somehow they reported the Ukrainians advance here, but the other ones, these guys take over villages or settlements. Analysts reported that Ukrainian forces have recaptured positions northeast of Vuhledar. Okay, northeast. So this is north and east is there. So that means somehow these guys somewhere in this area. All right, and it says geolocation footage published on November 28th shows that defense forces have made slight advances on the northwestern outskirts of Yelizavetivka. Meanwhile, Russian military correspondents claim that positions were cleared near Yelizavetivka and Ilinka, although Institute for the Study of War, never trust those guys, found no confirmation of these statements. You are not an arbiter, motherfuckers, because who owns you? All right, so it says here Russian advance have been noted in southern Toretsk, north along Hlinka Street. Russians may have also advanced in southern Nelipivka and the western part of Zabalka, micro-district south of Toretsk. And they show here, this is in Belgorod Oblast, this is towards Kharkiv. Now, Torske, this area right here, but this is the situation in Kharkiv Oblast, which is towards Kupiansk. All right. It says the Ukrainian source, I want to look over to Kupiansk, claim on November 28th that Russian forces crossed the Oxil River west of Dvorichna. Okay, so they talk about Kharkov, Vorichna right here. So this is where they claim they crossed, but this is a Russian map that didn't show crossing over there. But this is Kupiansk. This is gonna come. I think they will cross and go over. I don't see any crossing right here. They're all along the watchtower. Next one. Supposed. Oh, you see, when you hear this kind of advance, the Ukrainian advance near let me show you this. Zelensky replaces ground forces commander. Why? Because when things go right, you just change people. President Volodymyr, I'm just kidding, obviously. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has replaced Alexander Pavlyuk, the former commander of the ground forces of Ukraine Armed Forces, the ground forces commander of Ukraine Armed Forces, with Mikhailo Drapati. Zelensky announced the decision after a meeting of the Supreme Commander-in-Chief's staff on November 29th. The president noted that Major General Mikhailo Drapati has successfully organized defense on the Kharkiv front and disrupted the Russian offensive. Additionally, Zelensky announced the appointment of Colonel Oleg Apostol, Romanian, an experienced commander of the 95th Separate Air Assault Brigade as Deputy Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Good, we have a Russian. And if this is Apostol right here, then we got a Romanian. Where are the Ukrainians? In the front line, dying. All right, let's move to the next one. Supposedly, Ukraine's F-16s down 7 cruise missiles that attacked civilian infrastructure. Zelenskyy, the big liar, tells us. It's very interesting how fast these guys get the information regarding how good the F-16s are at shooting down Russian missiles. But when the Russian missiles shoot down the F-16s or F-16, we don't know what happened. Friendly fire, accident, I don't know, something like a human error, I don't know, act of God. But here, immediately, man, 7. The F-16s are working, operated by the Ukrainian crews. My friends, let's not turn full retard here. Again, you got to understand that he's a Ukrainian because they always start with this. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, not President Zelensky, not, the President of Ukraine, which would be more suitable for what Zelensky is, has said that F-16 fighter jets had effectively destroyed 7 cruise missiles that were heading towards civilian targets overnight. How do you know it was civilian targets? Just pay attention to this. When the Russians are successfully hitting something, it's the civilian targets. When they are not successful, it's always military targets. But since the Russians do not and never attack military targets, the big liar tells us, they always attack civilian targets. So remember, when the Russian missiles hit something, and they immediately show you pictures of civilians, never military. No. Port infrastructure, military, things like this. Now you can, unless you're about in the 5th grade, you should understand these are lies. And you can say, well, it's a war, Emil. I understand. The first thing that dies in a war is sacrifice is the truth. All right, let's go to the next one. And we find out that Ukrainians were also successful in Crimean Peninsula. Ukrinform. Ukrainian intelligence successfully strike 3 Russian radars in Crimea. Soldiers from Main Intelligence Directorate of Ukraine Defense Ministry successfully targeted 3 radar systems in the temporarily occupied Crimea. This is what they say. So they say they destroyed high value, including a Kasta 2E2 radar and 2 Podyot radar stations. Okay, well, this is what they say, valued at 5 million. Nothing. All right, but nevertheless, let's see where that occurred, right? The Crimean Peninsula is in the south by the Black Sea, and here is it, where they say they targeted and hit 3. I don't know if that's true. I'm just reporting because what can you do? Next one. Not that. We're going to see what the Russians are saying regarding their successful or lies in the Ukraine front. Sputnik. This is from 3 hours ago today, November 30th. Russian forces destroy key Ukrainian military and energy infrastructure. He's too clean. Don't you think he's too clean? I think he's too clean. You see this helmet? There should be full of dust after this thing jumps up and all this dust comes out, dirt comes out of this. He should be all, but hey, what I know, maybe he's a clean guy. All right. Russian forces have struck the infrastructure of Ukrainian military airfields, the Ministry of Defense reported, and I'm quoting, using unmanned aerial vehicles, drones, missile troops, and artillery. Russian armed forces inflicted damage on military airfield infrastructure, energy facilities supporting Ukraine's military-industrial complex, as well as concentrations of enemy personnel and military equipment in 132 areas, the Ministry of Defense said. Air defense systems downed a long-range Neptune cruise missile, an HIMARS rocket, and 45 fixed-wings UAVs. So the Ukrainians are still having those things. So let's see what's going on here with the next one. Russian Sputnik says Russia strikes warehouse containing ATACMS, Storm Shadow missiles, pro-Russian underground network. Over the past week, the Russian armed forces also launched 32 precision strikes with high-tech weapons and drones, destroying 2 Ukrainian Grom-2 ballistic missile launchers and a Neptune anti-ship missile launcher. Launcher was the other one. Launcher was a missile. No, Neptune cruise missile, and here they say it's a launcher. Neptune anti-ship missile launcher, the pop. On Thursday, a strike was carried out near Odessa region, port of Chernomorsk, on a railway train carrying ATACMS and Storm Shadow missiles that had arrived in Ukraine from Romania. Pro-Russian resistance coordinator Lebedev told Sputnik. When I was over there, I saw a lot of transports, and there are some videos sent to me by Romanians with convoys and trains full of military, some tanks, some armored vehicles, and something that you don't know what's in there, crossing through Romania. So thank you very much for those videos, my friends. Oh, okay, I'm gonna cite what they say, and I'm gonna use Constanza being the port. Chernomorsk was hit on November 28th. From additional information, it became clear that the strike came to the train with military cargo. According to preliminary data, the train contained long-range ATACMS and Storm Shadow missiles, which arrived by sea from the Romanian port of Constanza. All right, where is that port of Constanza? No worries, I'll show you. Here it is. So this is Odessa, where these guys said they struck it, this area. This is the ports that these guys have. Constanza, on the other hand, is right here. So right here, the little port of Constanza, right here, where the NATO has a military base, big one, not only one, in this area. So from here, probably they went here, and then train going somewhere else, they got smashed. According to the Russians, doesn't necessarily mean that that's true. Now, is that enough reason for the Russians to bombard Constanza with some ICBMs? We'll see. Good luck to you, Romanians. You elected good people through the democratic system. Democracy in Romania doesn't work. Why? Look at the people elected. And then you tell me if that's the crème de la crème. Oh, it's not meant to be like that? Well, then why do we have democracy then? All right, my friends, here it is. A little update. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong. Stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. See you later. Crocodile.